Oh, okay, it's not going to let me minimize. Anyone know with Zoom? I feel like when you're recording to the cloud, sometimes it lets you minimize, but it's not.
It doesn't ever let me minimize when I'm recording.
Well, see, I've had it so that it does. Let me just make sure that I think it's going to the cloud. We'll keep going. Anywho, that's just me and my own stuff. I have some notes. I just want to be able to see them and see your faces and the chat. But you're just gonna have to unmute if you have stuff as we're going through. Because yeah, I have some questions that I'm going to be asking as we go through. So as I mentioned, definitely am going to be talking today about lead generation, finding lead generation methods that jive with you, and how to really create some of those more genuine connections in the online space so that it doesn't feel spammy or speezy. That's my new word apparently today. So I guess I wanted to start with a little conversation, okay, about your beliefs around lead generation. And I know Vicki did something similar to this, a couple months ago. So I don't know who was all there and went through that. And I know it definitely brings up some feelings, but I want to hear from all of you. What are your beliefs about lead generation?
It's kind of an easy one for me because I think about it a lot. I believe that I don't have control over it. Like I really just feel like I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall constantly, and sometimes people show up and I never quite know why or when. So that's my belief, is that I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to lead generation.
Okay. That's good. I'm gonna take some notes. So, okay. Jamie, Emily, what are your beliefs around lead generation?
I'll go since Emily's still in mute. One of the biggest things that I learned was to treat the people that join my Facebook group like leads. And that was like mind blowing to me because I had never considered it before. So, and now that I've started doing it, oh my gosh, what a difference it makes. So I think if I had to classify, I don't know what I don't know. Like I wouldn't have thought of that. I wouldn't have, unless I heard that. I was just like, oh, look, people are joining my group. Great. I hope they find what they want. Instead of being intentional and driving it. So that's one piece of it. Right. But I think, so that's one part. The other part is when I start thinking about getting on calls with people. It's kind of what Jamie says about control, but it's a little bit different. I feel like I lose control of those calls, and the call becomes, how do I do this? And how do I do this? And can you give me a tip on this? And then I'm so eager to help that I just jump in. And the next thing I know, it's like 30 minutes and I'm like, I did this wrong. So it's being intentional with getting people to the calls. And so I end up avoiding it because I know it's out of control for me. Does that make sense, Lori?
What do you avoid?
Because I don't know how to control it.
So you avoid generating leads, period?
No, I generate going to a call. And I foster my leads in my Facebook group, which is safe, instead of getting them on calls with me.
So you don't ask for the calls?
I don't publicly put it out there.
What about in like the DMs?
Well, if I've got a relationship with somebody, it's either worse or better. There's no in between, right? Because they know me, and so they feel like we're friends, and so then it just becomes this chit-chatty thing. But I've had, I think when I clarify them better, then they seem to be more controlled. They seem to go better. If I know I'm not making any sense.
Makes sense. We'll get
I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not comfortable doing it. Like the other day I had a sales call and my husband was home, and I got off it and I was just like, oh, that was awful. And he's like, no, it wasn't. I'm like, I need to practice this. Like, will you practice with me? Because he's like a sales guy. And he's like, you don't need practice. You were good. And I'm like, that doesn't help me. You're not helping me. I know it was a train wreck and I need help with this. And so, yeah, so here I show up here, and Lori can help me.
Oh, okay. No pressure from me.
No,
I'll
it's
just
not,
show up here.
it's not a sales avoidance. It's not sales avoidance. It's controlling the meeting and redirecting people when they, or maybe it's clarifying up front the point of the meeting and like setting the tone, but it tends to get off track and then I don't get it back on track. That's the issue.
Okay, so it's not the selling, but it's, okay. So you get the people into your group, you nurture them in the group, but then what happens to them?
Well, then they join my membership and then they're a customer. It's like an easy way to get them as a client.
So this is more around the one-on-ones, because you
Yeah.
seem to get people in your
Yeah.
challenges.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
really
getting
quick.
people to step up to doing one-on-one or group coaching. And yeah, that's the issue.
Okay, okay. We're gonna dig into that more, but I want to hear from Emily.
So it feels definitely like speezy to me.
That's our new word, right?
Yeah.
Easy.
It feels a little bit sneaky, to be honest, because I feel like when I'm like purposely trying to generate leads, I want to like build this relationship with them, but there is an end goal of wanting to sell to them. So it feels a bit like disingenuous and like I almost feel guilty around it sometimes.
Why?
Because I'm like teaching everybody like, no, you build relationships before you sell anything. And then that's exactly what I do. But I feel like a lot of people are like just wanting this like free help, which I don't want to give them. I give it to my content and in my group and stuff. And I feel like really rude saying I don't want to give it to them, but you know what I mean? And they're like, well, you're saying like build relationships, and now you're turning this into wanting to sell me something. It just feels
So are they
weird.
saying that? Or are you saying that? So that
No,
actually leads into my next.
I'm saying that.
Okay. That like leads
I'm
into my
saying
next
that.
question. And that is, what stories are you telling yourself about your lead generation and your methods? And other people's methods for that matter, because I know a lot of people are triggered by other people's lead gen methods.
I am telling myself that I don't have this well-oiled machine that I really want to have, and other people do. And like Jamie, you were just like Jamie H, you were just like, oh yeah, the people join my membership, and I'm like, how? I don't want people to join my stuff all the time. Like, you have no problem getting people in your membership. How do you do that? Right? Like, and that's where I'm like, other people's lead generation methods are obviously better than mine, but I don't put as much into it as I want to, and I know that I need to, because I'm scared of rejection.
Okay. There we go. And what happens if they reject you?
Then I don't make money.
What happens if you don't sell to them?
What do you mean?
You said if they reject you, that you.
Oh, I also don't
Okay.
make money. I don't
Yeah.
sell to them.
So how do they find out about you if you aren't selling to them?
They don't. Unless they stumble across my content and say, oh yeah, I want to buy her program.
Okay. So you're telling yourself that you're being speezy. Sorry, that's totally going to be my word now. Going to be speezy. And that you shouldn't sell because you might be rejected. Or do you think people are judging you for selling?
No. I just think if they wanted to buy what I'm selling, then they would just buy it, and I wouldn't have to even try to sell it.
But how do they know what you're selling if you don't tell them about it?
Because I talk about it in public.
How often
Sometimes.
do they see your content where you're talking about
Not
it?
often enough. I know I need to do it. Why don't I just do it?
It's okay. It's okay. Listen, we're digging down. Don't worry. There's
Yeah.
more coming here. There's more coming. So I'm just asking. There's gonna be a lot of questions. So other people, when they see this recording, might be grateful that they weren't one of the ones showing up in the hot seat. Can't walk away now. You're stuck. You're stuck. Okay. So Jamie.
I'll take a jump because this is like sparking thoughts for me for stuff I've been working on anyway. It's funny hearing Jamie H. you talk particularly around the I don't know. We have different parts that are important in scary ways. Like I have a consult, like I don't have fear once they're on the phone with me. I feel like in my element, I can hold space, I can usually move along. Like that's a place where I generally feel comfortable, but every single step of the way leading up to that, I don't necessarily feel like I have control. And as you guys were talking, what I realized I really actually do believe is I don't want to be speezy, and I want to I mean, I believe wholeheartedly that attraction marketing is the right way to go for me, that the reaching out, convincing, anything like that is just not working. But with that being said, I think what I also believe is attraction marketing means letting everybody come to me and don't be visible. And that's so safe and awesome and yay. But I haven't had clients coming to me in the last few months since I've started thinking more and more about attraction marketing getting less and less visible. And so that's scary. So I guess that's what I just wanted to say aloud is like, we're all saying it's scary, but in a little bit of different places and different ways. But I would really love to feel in control of attraction marketing and figure out what metrics matter for things like that. Because that's the part I feel like, man.
So when you think about attraction marketing, what does that mean to you?
Okay, so this is how I see it. It's meeting people as often as possible, providing information and value to anybody and everybody that I can to like help them, receive some sort of transformation in any way, like just by showing up, and then making offers in different capacities to, at the right times. And the making offers part is where I get totally stuck. I'll show up anywhere. I'll hold space for anyone. And I do often like give a lot of stuff free away, but I believe in that. Like I believe wholeheartedly in just boom. And the real value of one-on-one is doing the one-on-one. And conversion, where's the conversion? like I've inspired people into my world of coaching in several times over, but I'm not doing it consistently, and I don't quite know what the thing was that did it.
Have you asked people that have bought from you what did it?
Yeah, okay, so I have, and that's really scary, but I have actually done it, and the overarching, like the theme has been, well, it was just so inspiring to hear your story and to see the transformation. So I just keep trying to inspire, and then I think that's where it gets scary. It's like, but what if I'm not doing that right? What is it to be inspiring? Maybe that's where everything starts to get a little nebulous in my head.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an authority?
I very much do, until I think of the 4-letter word SALE. And then I get really scared and think I don't know what I'm doing and want to run away. But yes, often outside of the marketing realm, when I show up, I often do think that I am an authority in what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Unless I
Okay.
attach an offer to it.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're going to dig more into all of this. Okay. So, Holly, we're talking about lead generation, beliefs around lead generation, making connections with people. So just so you kind of know where we're at. Jamie H, did you want to share anything or on the stories you're telling yourself?
No, just
No?
kidding. I
It's
will
all terrific.
share.
No
I
stories?
I know what's coming. You're going to ask me a tough question. I'm scared of that. That's the story I tell myself. No,
Scared of Lori.
um,
Okay, got it.
they're good. They're good questions. They're good questions. Okay. So here are the stories I tell myself. I tell myself that I am attracting the wrong audience and they can't afford one-on-one and group coaching. They can only afford the membership. So that's in here. I tell myself anytime I put it out there, and this is past tense, like book time on my calendar, let's talk, those spots fill up. I mean, like boom, 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 which is lovely and wonderful. But I think it's because they just want to hang out with me. And then what ends up happening is they say, yeah, I'm just going to do the membership. That's what I can afford. And they join the membership. And I think, well, I didn't need to do a call and take up time on my calendar if you were just going to join the membership. So I think the story I tell myself is that it's a time waster and that I don't need it because I know where they're going to end up anyway. It's like I'm a psychic and I predict where they're going to go. That's the story I tell myself. I know it's crap, but that's what I tell myself.
So question. So you get on a call with people, you tell yourself before you get on the call pretty much that they can't afford to work with you one-on-one, which by the way, what do you charge for one?
$600 a month.
Okay. So they can't afford $600 a month. So if you're telling yourself before they even get on a call, are you even like,
Self-sabotaging. Yes.
yeah. So do you even
Yes.
try to pitch them the one-on-one coaching?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
And how does that
yes.
go?
They say, oh my gosh, I would love to do that, but I can't afford it. I'm just going to do the membership. And then I go,
Do you
I
give
know
them
it.
both do you give them both options? Just out of curiosity, this
Well,
is
they
more
know, I mean, I don't know that I've done a call where they were brand new to me. I mean, most of the time, these are people that are in my group. And so they're familiar with my offers. It's not a surprise.
Mhm.
So I did even with one, and this was one that I actually got. I had the same mental block, and so before we even got on the call, I was like, she was already worrying about price, and so I just DM'd her and I said, okay, just to let you know, like here's what we're talking about, and she responds back and she was like, okay, I can do 1 month, but I can't do more than 1 month. And so I was like, oh, score, that's something, let's do it. And so then that starts to plant the seed in your head, and you're like, okay, well maybe I just need to be more open and honest about what my one-on-one costs, so they self-select out of not even wanting to book with me. And then I think, I don't know, should I be doing that? So it's all up in my head, and I can't get out of it.
Do you like one-on-one coaching?
Yes, it's my favorite thing to do.
Okay.
That and I mean, honestly,
question.
all of it. I like group. I shouldn't say it's my favorite because I like group coaching as well. I like all of it. I love doing it. I would love to just fill my calendar with it.
Okay. Definitely have thoughts. I'm sure you know. I'm gonna ask more questions though. Okay, so beyond just the people, because you do have a membership, which gives you a bit of a competitive edge, I feel like. What do you do with the people in your membership? Like, do you book calls with them? Or are you only booking calls with the people in your Facebook group?
It's both. It's some of both. It's not, I don't know that I could say one over the other.
How do the calls go with someone who is not already a member? Or so who is already a member of your membership? So that's options off the table.
Like the one that I just did that I was like beating myself up over and telling my husband that I suck at this. She was like, I really want to I know what you can always go back in hindsight and be like, oh, I know what I should have done. But in the moment, that's not what I did, because she was like, I really want to do this and I want to take advantage of this price point, but I'm having all these health issues. And so then my big heart gets in the way and I'm like, oh, poor health issues. And so then I say, the words come out of my mouth and I think, oh my God, why did I do that? I say, tell you what, I'll honor this price for the next 3 or 4 months and you let me know when you're ready. Now, she was grateful, but it's probably just never going to go anywhere. So what I feel like I should have done was said, pay now and I'll hold the space for you. When you're healthy, then we can start. But I didn't do it that way.
Well, we're gonna get into more questions around that. Trust me.
I can just see the wheels turning in her head. Like, can you guys see them? You're like, oh boy. She's like, if I could just get my hands on her. I love it.
Okay, so Holly, you able to talk?
Yes, I'm gonna keep my camera off because I was just eating lunch, so.
No worries, no worries. And just for what it's worth, I don't mind people eating on camera, but I know some people are self-conscious of it. So I have no problem if you want to be on camera while you eat, no problem. But so the question, well, actually, I'm going to go back a step for you because first I want to know, what are your beliefs about lead generation?
My beliefs. I think at times I find it, I don't know if it's that I found it challenging, or I just feel like I'm not getting enough leads. So I feel like I have decent engagement with my, people I'm already connected to. It's the new, getting new leads outside of my network is where I think I have a belief that that's challenging.
Okay.
And also that could partly be my fault. So definitely throwing that out there. And I don't know. Trying to think of what other beliefs I may have around lead generation.
What stories do you tell yourself about lead generation? You said it's challenging. I mean, like, let's go further into that. It's challenging. So what?
I think there's a story, especially in the field that I'm in, nutrition and health and wellness, that you have to give tons and tons of value. Like you have to share so much education. And even then it's like, is that even going to convert somebody? Are they just going to go try it on their own and think that they can do it and then still never, seek help? I think that's a story that I've had to try to overcome, because yes, you have to kind of share your knowledge, right? So people know you're knowledgeable. What else? What other stories? I don't know. I mean, I think I have a story of like people in my group are not the people that are going to pay me for my services. So that's probably not a good story to have, but that's,
And why do you think that?
I think maybe because I don't know. I think I just think, well, these people like know me from somewhere, like either high school or, the town I grew up in, or from when I lived in Dallas, and they're just like supporting me. They're just in there to like support me or something. Or like my mom shared it with, or a friend shared it with me. And like, I don't know.
So are all the people in your group people from like your personal connections, or do you have any like business connections in there?
No, I do have other connections too. Yeah, like there are some people in there that I didn't know beforehand.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. My phone just rang and apparently I accidentally answered it. So I just hung up. I hung up on him because that's the good answer. Okay.
If it's important, they'll call back, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I won't answer. Okay. So the people that are the right people, why wouldn't they pay you? If you know they need you, why wouldn't they pay you?
Probably because I also have a limiting belief that as women especially, we're not really taught that that it's okay to invest in ourselves outside of career or like education. Like people who are not entrepreneurs, for instance, like in this world we're in here, I have this belief that those people don't want to invest in their health, that they only see like, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I know that's not true, that like everyone's not like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I certainly wasn't like that. Was very happy to pay my first coach, you know. So I think I just need to find more of those people.
Find them, or do you think, have you had conversations? Now going back to, the lead generation, people in your group, are you having conversations? And this is a good question for all of you. Not just are you posting, but are you having genuine conversations with these people? Whether it's in the DMs, whether it's coffee chats, whether it's sales calls, doesn't matter. Are you having conversations with them?
Not recently. No, I initially, yes. And when people engage, like people that aren't, my connections that I feel like are just, supporting me, I definitely try to, reach out to those people, but I don't feel like I've had a ton of engagement of those people that aren't, my connections recently.
Okay. And are you engaging with them?
Like engaging with them how? Like on their
On their pages, in the DMs, wherever. Yeah, I mean,
I
if they're
feel
not
like-
engaging in your content, do you engage with them anywhere else, or do you just kind of pretend they don't exist?
Oh, no, I feel like I'm pretty good at engaging with people. Like if I see their story or if I see a post, a picture, they posted a picture. I feel like I'm pretty good at that.
But what
for the
about the
mo-
people who aren't engaging with you?
Well, that's what I mean. Like some of the people that are in my group, I know they're in my group and they may not
Mhm.
always engage. I do try to do that.
Okay. Okay. So this is like a big question and answers session, guys. Everybody's in the hot seat today.
Yeah.
Because we're
Like
getting
it.
to the bottom of some stuff. Okay. We're getting to the bottom of some stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna go on to the next thing. So when it comes to, I'm gonna go back to kind of the stories. We were telling their stories about lead generation, but now I want to talk about other people. Okay. Other people reaching out to you, other people, whether they're DMing you, whether they're friending you, however, whether they're cold emailing you, calling you, doesn't matter. People that are trying to sell you something. How do you feel about those people? What feelings come up with that? And anyone can go.
Go ahead, Allie, if you want.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if it's like cold, like I've never seen their face before and we're not connected, like we're not friends or connections on LinkedIn or something, I kind of just almost ignore it because I'm like, you don't really have any like purpose for reaching out to me. But if we're already connected and they're reaching out, they genuinely want to share something that's a value or just connecting to make a connection, I'm totally fine with that.
So if you're not already connected and they see something in you that draws them to want to connect with you, is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when you're saying, yeah, like the cold ones, like, hey, join my group and I've never met you, those are the ones that you ignore.
Yeah, I've had someone on LinkedIn send me literally 4 messages and I haven't responded to any. And I'm like, okay, after the first like 1 or 2, you would think they would at least wait for me to respond, right? But it was like they kept going that. I'm like, okay, no, that's a little too aggressive there. Like at least connect, maybe have a genuine exchange, before you're like trying to tell me that you can solve my life problems.
Yeah. Now I'm going to be a little bit of devil's advocate. 4, yes, that's a bit excessive with no response. But let's say someone sends you one message, and yeah, maybe it's a cold message, but you don't know. Maybe that person has exactly what you need, and they follow up a second time. What's wrong with that?
I mean, I guess really there's not anything wrong with that. I think it's more about like how they approach it.
Okay, so how would
I-
you prefer that they approach it?
Maybe ask questions first before throwing something out there to see if that's even what I would need or be interested in.
Okay, and you're okay with that? So if they come in and they start asking you questions?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm not
Okay.
always okay with that. And sometimes I am okay with it. I have like a couple different things on there with different answers. So I am not always okay with like strangers coming in and asking questions. And there's two different distinctions, and this is really helping me. Number one, I'm never okay when somebody comes in assuming my problem. Like assuming, like they come and they're like, hey, I saw your page and I can't wait to help you with the lead generation that I know you have a problem with. Things like that drive me crazy. And that's just really hit me that I'm very scared of assuming other people's problems. And I think that's a thing I'm dealing with rejection stuff for this lead thing. But then the second thing is I have been trying to be very open to cold DMs because I do understand that these are humans trying something and not all of them are bots. And so I have been answering some with questions like, hey, thanks for your interest. How did you find me? And you know, what did you think would be great about us connecting? And it stops like 90% of them from responding to me, but a few have responded and we've started conversations, and I have been open to thinking that that person might be a lead for me. I've actually been doing that and didn't realize it. But if they come with an assumption, I'm much less open to even having that first conversation. And so I think my like fear of somebody thinking I'm assuming may sometimes make me like think I don't want to like cold DM, but it's not really cold in what I'm doing. Like I would be like, if Jamie said like, I'm just dying to know my human design, I wouldn't be assuming. I could reach out to her on the back end and say, Jamie, let's have a conversation. And I would appreciate if somebody did that for me. So I guess the relationship is important. And there are some times when if I don't have a relationship, I'm open to the conversation.
Okay, so now flip it. Would you be okay with someone, let's see, you're not making the assumption that you necessarily know their problem, but you see like maybe the content that they've posted or that alludes to like maybe they could use my help, or maybe I just really like this person and I feel a connection. What's the idea of reaching out to that person and sending them a message and just getting to know them? How does that make you feel?
Yeah. Pre-our league, it wouldn't have been a consideration for me to even try. Nowadays, I think I've done that before with a genuine like interest in connecting, not even thinking about the sale. And I think that's the only time I've ever done it. Like, I don't know that I've ever actually followed through with somebody I don't like consider like a warm, cool, or cold person in my life. I don't know that I've ever like reached out to them to, you know what? Huh. God, Lori, you're smart. I've not reached out to those people to sell them right away. I've reached out because I've been interested and wanted to have conversations, and that's always worked really well for me. Thanks for that.
I might not even have to ask some of the other questions. When we say we all have the answers within us. Sometimes it just takes digging about. Okay, good. That was very good. Okay. Anyone else want to go?
I was just going to add that there's something different than what I've heard is because I agree with what everybody has said. I've struggled with some of those same things, but I often like appreciate the hustle and I will tell them that. Like, I'll be like, I'm not interested, but seriously, good for you for this hustle. Like I'm impressed by it because it wouldn't be what I would do. It's not how I would do it. And I like, or like the really bad ones are when they like, obviously it's clearly copy and paste because they don't even have my name right. And then I love responding to those and saying, I don't know who April is. I think you have the wrong person. And then like Jamie said, they either just go away and they're just embarrassed, or it starts a dialogue and then you just, have a conversation. But one of the things that Jamie said that made me go, huh, is just, I never think of them as leads for me. I always think about it's like I'm swatting flies away. But that gave me something to think about differently, because you just never know. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, you do never know. I mean, really coming down to, you know, back to the beginning where I said, you know, we're going to talk about making genuine connections. If we have our guard up all the time, how are we ever going to make genuine connections with people? So if we feel disingenuous reaching out to people, it's because we ourselves, a lot of times, we're reflecting what we're doing to other people. So if we're just ignoring people's messages, if we're, you know, just saying they're sleazy, they're speezy, which Holly, you missed that part when Lori slurred her words. So what was it? Spammy or sleazy? Speezy. Because yeah, I mean, sometimes we don't look at that, you know, but a lot of times the things that like bother us the most are self-reflection, and it's something about ourselves that we have to look into. So why we're so triggered when someone sends us that DM? Why we think so much like that it's such a bad thing? And it's genuine connection. It's humans. And yes, sometimes there's bots on the other end. Sometimes people are using AI. I'm not going to say that, but if you don't respond, if you make an assumption, you tell someone, you either ignore them, you come up with some snarky response, tell them to fuck off, whatever, you know, it is that you're doing, you're blocking those genuine connections. So then when you go out and send a message to someone, you expect the same from them. And you expect them to think the same things that you're thinking. All right. So Emily, sorry, did you want to, oh, go ahead.
I just gotta say this because it feels like we're all in the same networking groups pretty much. So we kind of all know, but it's so interesting you said that, because there's two things that happen for me. Number one, when I'm in the rooms in there, my wall is down 100%. Like I'm all in, I'm fully embodied who I am, and I'm holding the space that I want to be in. And when I post things and talk on video, the very few times I do, I often think of those people because they're safe. Like totally safe, and never go in thinking I'm going to get a client from any of them. And most of my clients are people from those rooms, most of my one-on-ones. So it's really interesting that that's my safe space, and that's where a lot of my clients are coming from, and that's where my walls are down. But then I go out into like the real world of posting and think it's too scary and nobody wants me and I don't want anybody and whoa. And they're not where my clients are coming from, the whole rest of the world. So really, like, yeah, this is very helpful.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Emily, you want to chime in at all?
Jamie, I want clients from these networking groups so badly, and it never happens. But anyway, for me, it really depends on the message. Like, I cannot stand the ones that are copy pasted and it's not my name. It's like, yeah, exactly. If it's April or whatever. And those ones, sometimes I often actually write them back and straight up tell them about my services and how I can teach them how to do lead generation effectively so that they'll never have to send a single cold pitch like that. They never write back. But it just it bugs me, like receiving a cold message. It does bug me because, like, what are you assuming about me, right? That's the thing. Like, there was, Laura, you know about this, the person who sent me a cold message was like paragraphs long, being like, you basically, like, your business sucks, your profile sucks, screenshots of like, here's the things you should do in your business. And that happened to me like in January, and my hatred for cold messages ever since then has been like, oof, you're an idiot, leave me alone. It's kind of like, I don't like them. I don't like them.
So I have another question for all of you, because I know we're talking about DMs, and we're going to talk about different methods and stuff too, but I do want to talk about the DMs because I think that this is where the most stuff comes up for people, and this is what blocks people from so much. So, question for all of you. Do you think, I guess no, hold on. Thinking about the fact that someone that sends a cold DM might be getting people to buy in to their programs for thousands of dollars, how does that make you feel?
Irritated as hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say irritated, but also jealous. If I could just send you one message and you'll sign up for my program, well, I'm gonna do it.
Ooh, Lord, oh my God, it also just protective just came up. Like, you don't even know me. I couldn't even do that. You don't know my program. Like that actually just came up for me. Oh, I'm gonna have to think on that one. Ew.
Can you repeat that? Someone DMing you to what? What was the question?
So I didn't have this one written down, so I don't even remember exactly what the exact
I
word.
remember it because it triggered me. if
Okay,
you
good.
want me
What
to
were my
say it.
what were my words?
So I think your words were, how do you feel if you think about the person cold DMing you getting clients at a rate of thousands of dollars per client through cold DMs?
Yeah, like, what is that trigger for you? Jamie H, I feel like you have some thoughts.
No, I can't. I agree with Emily and Jamie C. Yeah, puke, yuck, jealous. I hate them. But also probably a little bit of, it just feels icky. Back to your speezy word, it just feels icky, and almost to the point of, if I have to be like that to get clients, do I want to do it? That's what pops in my head. I don't want to get clients that way. Like that would so be yucky.
And it's just not gonna be the right people.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Like,
that could be too.
yeah, I'm also
Yeah.
that's coming up like they're not getting the right people buying
Yeah.
their thing, their services.
But, Jamie C, what you said, or is their message so dialed in, meaning, are you meaning, is it so dialed in because they know exactly what you need? Or what do you mean?
Yeah, like I guess I'm trying to consider it from both ways, being
Mhm.
that we're in a coaching container. And is it like, okay, but I'm in a business container that's teaching me how to get so dialed in that my copy will eventually sell for me. Like right now, I do consult calls and I rely on a 5-step process to bridge the gap and get people to vision how I can help them. One day, my copy is going to be good enough to get them into that program. That's my hope. But then how do I get that copy to strangers if I don't just get it out to them somehow? Yes, email. No, I don't want it to be spammy DM, but I guess what I'm saying is eventually my connection will not have to be so intimate and it won't feel sleazy to have a stranger in my program.
Mhm.
And so what if somebody doing this is just that they're at that point already, their message is so dialed in and they're throwing a blanket out to who they believe is their perfect customer. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to consider that and not be so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've maybe gotten to a point where they have VAs, they probably have VAs helping. It might not be them. But something I just want to say, something all of you have kind of agreed upon is you feel jealousy. The fact that these people are getting clients doing something like this and you're trying so hard to be genuine and you're not getting the same result, right? So let me ask you this. The people who, we're going back to attraction marketing now, Jamie. The people who are posting and getting shit tons of comments, they're getting clients through their copy, and you're not getting that. How does that make you feel?
Envious and trying to figure out what I'm missing. What piece I haven't figured out yet.
Mhm, mhm. So I'm hearing a lot of comparison happening and the reason I wanted to point that out is because a lot of people are like you and they're like, well, I don't want to send cold DMs. I don't want to send DMs. I don't want to do that. I just want attraction marketing. I just want to post and want people to come in. But if you're saying ultimately your feelings about attraction marketing and what other people are doing with it, they're pretty much the exact same as how you feel about DMs.
No.
You're judging them, but I think my feelings on everybody is I'm hearing a little bit of self-judgment here that in comparison, because why can they do this? Whether it's attraction marketing, whether it's even Emily saying, how are you getting people from networking? I want to get people from networking. Now you're thinking, well, that works for Jamie. Why doesn't it work for me?
Right.
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 So the thing with lead generation, there's a lot of methods out there. There's so many different ways to get leads. But none of them are going to work. You don't want to burst the bubbles here, but nothing is going to work any better than what you're doing right now if you don't do the inner work that goes along with these feelings that are coming up. Because what's happening, it's not that they're doing something better than you. It's not that cold DMing is better than warm DMing, that's better than networking, that's better than attraction marketing. It's that the people behind that cold DM, the people in that networking, Jamie, where she's feeling super safe and confident. Emily, you might not be feeling that when you go into the networking. And that's why Jamie can get people coming in like crazy through a networking, and why you're just like, what the fuck? Why can't I do that? You know, because you don't feel confident in that. And if you don't feel confident in whatever it is that you're doing, it's not going to work, whatever it is. So you can sit out there, and this is why like this comparisonitis and this constant comparing ourselves to other people and what they're doing and their methods and well, what's working for them. And I want to try that in attraction marketing. I just want to be able to post and have them come. Great, sure you do. Of course, everybody wants that. But are you at a place where you feel like that can actually work for you? Like, do you feel like that's going to work for you right now? Not saying that it can't, but I'm saying what are your feelings? When you put out a piece of content, are you like, yeah, I know what the hell I'm doing. I feel really confident in this. I feel really safe putting this out there. People are going to be jumping into my offers. Is that how you feel when you put out your content?
No, I feel hope. That's often what I'm aiming for, is hope. Like, man, I hope the right person sees this. That's literally like often the energy behind it. Even though I want it to be inspiration, I'm writing it through inspiration. But when I hit submit, almost every time I'm like, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Okay, love the reference there. Oh, what game show is that, by the way?
Was it not called No Whammies? I don't remember.
Was that the name of the show?
No,
It was just
no.
called Whammy.
The Prices? No, it wasn't The
No, it
Prices.
wasn't The Price is
Whammy.
Right.
Press your
I'm gonna
luck.
have press your luck.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Never heard of
Oh,
this.
Holly, you need to go and watch. I'm sure you can find an old episode on YouTube.
Yeah, I
It was
mean, It's like from the 70s or something.
so
They,
good.
They made it again like probably 10 years
Yeah,
ago. Maybe
they
it's
did,
still
they
up
did,
there.
yeah. Press your luck, yeah. Okay, so, okay, all of these new realizations coming up, how are you guys feeling? What feelings are coming up for you now?
I'm definitely
Feeling it.
realizing the energy behind it all matters. And I've noticed that with myself with certain platforms, I'll start making an assumption about the people on that platform. And I'm like, oh, maybe I need to focus more here. Maybe my person's here. And I'm really trying to let go of those assumptions, because sometimes I look at it and I'm like, well, that doesn't even make sense, Holly, because you have gotten clients from this platform. So yeah, I'm just trying to be more open-minded. And I don't, now that we were talking about reaching out to people. So on LinkedIn, maybe this was like a year or two ago, I had no problem. I was connecting with people if they were within my, 1 to 2, 3 connections, whatever, how it tells you like you have another connection related to this connection and so forth. So I would connect with people, and I had no problem like just sending them a note, like, thanks for connecting. And I see you're this, or I see we both used to work at JCPenney, because like there's tons of people in my previous world. And then I just kind of stopped for some reason. And then I've stopped connecting with people on Facebook too. So I know that's obviously not going to help me, you know, generate more leads because I'm not doing what I was doing before.
See, you're
And
already sensing the next questions.
okay.
That's awesome. So what have you, like for all of you, what have you done in the past that, because I know all of you have had clients before. So what has worked for you in the past? To get clients? To get leads, to get clients, to convert? What's worked?
People have referred me to people they know. So it's like my content, I feel like has converted, but in an indirect way, if that makes sense. Like that person didn't see my content, but they were referred to me from a friend or a family member.
Okay.
That's been a positive. That's one thing that's worked for me.
Do you ask for referrals?
Not really. I mean, I've mentioned to a few clients that I, do give a referral, what do you call it, fee or whatnot, if they, referred somebody. But for the people that referred me, they haven't worked with me before. They just know me and know my content. And so they were like, oh, I told my cousin about you. Would you set up a call with him, for instance?
And how does that go when you ask people to connect you? Or to refer you?
Oh, like my clients?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, or like anyone, like if you ask someone to refer you, or you ask someone like, oh, hey, I would really like to connect with this person. Could you connect us? Like, how does that go for you?
oh, I don't know that I've really done a lot of that in terms of I've like spoken with people locally where we've said where I've connected with people that we could potentially collaborate together, things like that. But
Okay.
that's not really referring in terms of a client necessarily, but
So what other things have you done that, like, have you gotten clients from? Have you done DMs, networking? Have you had
yeah,
contact?
yes. I mean, when I first started my group and like kind of early on, like I was pretty consistent about reaching out to people if they newly joined the group or if they were engaging, I would reach out. I don't know that ever like translated to clients, but it was more to just, kind of help build that connection in the community and stuff. I've reached out to people if they've engaged, like if I had a call to action about, say, a program I was going to do or something I was launching, I would reach out to people who liked the post.
Okay.
I haven't done that in a while. Need to go back to that, but I have done that before. Yeah, that's kind of other people. A lot of my clients though in this nutrition space have been people that knew me. And now they've said, I kept seeing your post, so I reached out. So I guess in some way my content, inspired them into action. But I don't know if it was like one specific one, but I was top of mind, I guess.
Okay. And the things that have worked for you in the past, like, so content, you're obviously still posting content, right? You reach out to everybody who likes it? Are you engaging with those people, or what do you do now with content?
I'm kind of hit or miss with that, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
So what changed?
I think just really, I don't have a good excuse besides just time, just busy. And I'm trying to be on 4 platforms and it gets exhausting. And I just don't always follow up.
So why are you on 4 platforms?
That's a good question. Just trying to I think I'm in the process now, kind of refining like who I'm targeting. And I think in the next month or two, I'll feel a bit more clear and I'm going to focus more on certain ones.
Mhm.
I feel like I can't really let go of Facebook because I have a group. So, and I do get a lot of engagement there, and that's kind of where I've gotten referrals, like people who know me there
Mhm.
could refer me to people. So I don't want to let go of that. And then, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that.
So you've gotten people from Facebook before, you have a group there, people are engaging. Why are you on 3 other platforms? Have you gotten any clients from any of the other platforms?
From LinkedIn, I have, yes.
Okay.
I've gotten, well, I say I've gotten 2 clients from Instagram, but they were people that knew me in my past, but they live on Instagram more than they're on Facebook. So they probably wouldn't have really thought of me if I wasn't on Instagram.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But I had, outside of like people I know, I haven't gotten anybody on Instagram. And then I'm on TikTok. That's kind of a new thing that I really want to push myself to do, mainly because I feel like that's a way for me to get people outside of my network. If that makes sense.
It does, sort of, but you realize, I'm just gonna be devil's advocate a little bit here, you realize that there's lots of people on all social media platforms that are not in your network. Like millions.
Yes.
Just
I think what attracts me about TikTok is that it's like a search engine. So if someone's searching gut health, if they're searching,
Mhm.
a topic I'm talking to, and every time I post, I gain new followers. Like it's almost like a guaranteed. I've gained, 10 to 20 followers. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like,
So
let's just
are
see
they
where this.
buying from you?
No, not yet. I'm still in my early stages. So you can't have a link on there until you have 1,000 followers.
I don't really do TikTok, but can you reach out to the people then that followed you? Can you send them a message?
I could, yes.
Are you?
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna challenge you.
Yeah,
Holly.
anyways.
Okay, so hopefully all of you have taken something from this little exchange here. Because it's kind of the same questions for all of you. I talk a lot about the power of one. You've probably all heard me talk about this. So the reason of time, going back to, why you're not engaging with or reaching out to people that have engaged with you in the past, because you don't have time, because you're on 4 platforms, that ultimately you're not getting traction from any of the platforms because you don't have time to actually spend on any of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's a time to definitely be on all the platforms, but I'll tell you, I have a team of people helping me. And we're barely on all the platforms right now. The only reason that we have any activity happening right now on Instagram is because Vicky's taken over my account. That's the only reason. I started on Instagram, but then when I moved to Facebook, I kind of like just let it go. Same thing, LinkedIn. The only reason I have any activity on LinkedIn is because Mahendra manages it. The reason I do so well on Facebook is because I manage it and I can focus on it.
Yeah.
And I have a team. Okay. And I have a team. The idea of me having to keep up with all of those things makes me want to pull my hair out. And you have a full-time job, Holly.
I know,
Right?
yeah. Trust me, I want to pull my hair out a lot.
I don't remember which one of you earlier said, do you feel like I think Jamie C, you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at a wall? Oh my God. Are you throwing spaghetti at a wall? I'm going to challenge you, Holly. I want you to pick one platform. I'll give you 2. Okay. I'll give you 2 if you really are excited about another one. But you can't do well on any other platform until you can really master one. just being out there and having more visibility doesn't mean anything because you're not spending the time actually getting to know, making those genuine connections, connecting with, engaging with an audience. So you're not really building an actual audience anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if
you're
you
right.
just said, I'm going all in on Facebook because yeah, it's my friends and family are there, but there's also a crap load of other people out there that I mean, there's like groups with tens of thousands of people with gut health and nutrition and like, oh my God, Holly, there's so many people. There's so many things right in that one space on all of the platforms. If you're not tapping into that platform fully, I'm going to challenge you to pick one, and preferably the one that's worked the best for you in the past, where you feel the most. This is another question. Which one do you feel most comfortable on?
I would say the two that I feel the most comfortable on are Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. How does it make you feel if I tell you to set TikTok and Instagram aside for right now?
It makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Because I feel like if I'm going to post a reel, for instance, on Facebook, I'm like, well, why don't I just post it on Instagram and TikTok too? You know?
Right. But then when
That's-
people,
that's
to
my
my
logic.
point though, yes, to my point earlier, are you following up with these people? Are you doing anything with them? Or are they just people? Is it just vanity metrics?
I've not been following up, no. And that's where, yeah, my time gets crunched and I'm like, crap. I still haven't done that. And I've been meaning to do that. Yes. And there's a little bit of FOMO for sure. Definitely. There's definitely that.
And it's normal. It's absolutely normal. It's absolutely normal. I get it too. Well, but what if? Why? Well, we should be on TikTok. No, why the hell would I want to be on TikTok? Like, I feel like I've been pretty successful, but we still, like I would say I still haven't tapped it. So Emily, I'm going to call you on that comment. Okay. You feel like you've ran out of places to find people. Really? Why do you feel that way? Okay.
Yeah, I really do. Because Facebook groups are where I used to find people and they're not what they used to be. In all of the groups that I'm in, they're not what they used to be.
So why don't you create something different?
Well, then where am I going to find the people? That's the thing. Like, I am trying to create something different, but it's a much more specific niche, right? Than just this, like all these like female entrepreneur groups, for example. Like I used to use all those types of groups to find leads and bring them into my group. And it's now just like when I stopped doing it because it just wasn't working for me anymore. It was just like all spam and
Speezy.
yeah, and like not my ideal clients.
Every single group on Facebook. Not
No,
your
the ones
ideal
that I'm
clients.
in, the one that I know, the ones that I know about. There's one group, to be completely honest, where I still find leads on Facebook.
Okay.
So I mean,
How often are you looking for new groups?
I'm not often anymore because I was like, no, I'm just not going to do it through
So
Facebook.
is that a story you're telling yourself that there's no more groups?
No, I'm not saying there's no more groups. I'm saying the groups that I'm in.
Okay. So
Yeah, so I guess it was look.
So your assignment is to find three new groups that you vibe with and start making, just engaging. Don't go in and start selling. Don't go in and start like just.
Okay,
just
I can do that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I want you to come back. I want you to come back and report back.
I will, absolutely.
Your three new groups. You don't have to share them if you don't want other people to be in them. But I want to know that
you guys can be in them. You're not the spammy group people.
But and I know what you're saying because I've felt that with Facebook groups they have changed and they shifted and a lot of them are going towards like promo only and there's some like I love Social Salad. I'm gonna use that because I know we're all really we've all pretty much connected because of that, right? It used to be different than it is now even. I've
Yeah,
cons-
and that's how I feel like all the groups I'm in have changed in the same way that that group has.
Mhm. Because everybody
So-
everybody is feeling exactly what you're feeling right here. They're feeling desperate. They're feeling scared. They don't know where to go. So if you want to see change, we have to be change and know that we're better than that. But you have to be confident in what you're doing and in yourself and in your offers. And you're going to find the right people.
Mhm.
So I want your 3 groups. Holly, I want you, I want you to dwindle down. I really I'm not telling you forever, not forever. Okay. It's not forever. I'm not telling you you can never go on TikTok or you can never go on LinkedIn or you can never go on Instagram, but you guys, you're killing yourselves here. And this is why you hate lead generation and why you're telling yourself all these stories and all these things that don't work.
Yes. Yeah.
So what has worked? So for the rest of you, okay, Emily, again, we know what's worked. You just need a new group. I recommend, like, if a group is not working for you for a matter of like a month or 2 and you've been consistent doing your stuff, move on. Get a new one to operate in, okay? You have to spend some time, you have to build relationships in that group, you have to engage, introduce, actually build genuine connections. But you can do that in someone else's group the same way you do it in your group. And Holly and Emily, I'm going to call you even a little more because I know you went through the Megamind, with Sydney and I. So we went deep into Facebook group, and the things that we did there, you can also do in other people's groups.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do have the recording still from that if you need to go back to watch those recordings from the Megamind.
Yeah, actually, I might need that for sure.
I also, in the course portal, I have like 4 or 5 Facebook related trainings that have a lot of similar stuff, but
Awesome.
how are you guys feeling?
I just wrote down a homework thing for me and I feel really good, like a little nervous, I'm realizing I need permission slips. Like I've got a lot of not permissions
I
for
can get a lot
myself
of
and I
permission
need to
slips.
write myself. Yeah, I write myself permission slips all the time and I tell my clients to do it, but I haven't around here. But one of the things I was sort of like going through while you and Holly were talking was I ask a ton of questions on my page from learning from you guys, like the color blog posts and, and they're not coaching questions. They're like Friday night questions and roller skating, fun questions, TV show questions. One of the things I have taken permission away of is responding in the DMs to those people that comment on those questions, which I used to do, but all of a sudden that got spammy and sleazy, which is not true, but I took my permission to slip away and you reminded, I'm hearing this, but what I thought of during this was, okay, if I think of my post last night around TV shows, a few people responded. I think Jamie might have been one of them. Like I had a few people that responded.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, you did too. And of those 8 comments, one, I'd like to respond to all of them because I like all of you guys, right? DM wise, let's talk about ancient aliens and all the things. But one of them might actually be an ideal client down the road someday. So maybe instead of thinking to myself, oh, you just realized she's an ideal client, you better not talk to her because you're going to be spammy. Maybe I could put her at the top of my list to DM before I DM Jamie H, who I love, but we just chat with each other and we don't pay each other. I'm hearing myself right now, the awareness of what you're saying is I have created a lot of rules over the last several months that I didn't used to have. And why? I need to start asking myself why about the rules. Why do I not talk in some of my groups that I used to talk in? A lot of my groups that I found are not spammy groups because they're not sales groups. They're chicken groups, but I don't even show up anymore because I don't want to be salesy. It's so ridiculous. Now that we're talking about it out loud, I'm just hearing myself and going, Jamie Lynn, how do you have any friends? Oh yeah, because you show up in networking rooms. That's it. So this is a lot of openness, but I'm just saying out loud for accountability purposes, I am going to treat that homework seriously. The last several posts that I made that received some comments, I'm going to go through them. And if there are some potential future leads, I'm prioritizing reaching out to them over anything else. just as a quick hello, not as a, hey, buy my program, please, or come work with me. Just, oh my God, remember when we were talking about that? That was great.
Yep. So do me a favor, all of you. Okay, so Jamie H, I don't have your homework yet, but everyone else has homework. Put it in the chat for me. Tell me you know what you're doing. I want you to just tell me what you're doing. I'll save this chat.
I thought I was gonna get away with just saying I know what I'm doing, but you're not gonna let me. That's not enough. I gotta actually be specific. I'll
Mhm.
just say mine is the same as Jamie C's. Exact same.
Okay, so
on
type
it.
it out. What you're gonna do, not just the same as Jamie C. I want to see in the comments what you guys are doing. Yep. Yep. Okay, good. Thank you, Emily. Okay, yes. Yes. Love it. Okay, so for those watching the recording, I'm not going to read because you heard everybody say their homework. But for those watching the recording, I want to see this in Voxer. Okay, so, and if you're not doing the Voxer thing, then post it in the Facebook group. That's okay too. But at some point, it's very, very normal, okay? But at some point, a lot of times we judge what we've been doing, what's worked in the past, or I must need to do something different, or this person is doing something different. We judge ourselves, we judge other people. Generally, we're judging other people because of the envy, the jealousy, how come they can do that and I can't, kind of mentality. And it's not saying, so I'm not saying, by the way, to stop doing new things. Okay, so I want to reiterate that. So Jamie C, for instance, attraction marketing, if that's what you're working towards, great. Keep doing that. But do not stop doing the other things that will work, right? And same thing, Holly, I'm not telling you never to go to another platform, but you need to prioritize the things that work. And then you can, as you have time, do the other things. You don't need to be in all the places. If you're spending the time really focusing on the thing that works, it's going to continue to work. And I think it's very normal to get to a certain level, and you see all these people around you getting certain results. And to be completely frank, do you know that they're for sure telling the truth even? No, you don't. So we have to stay in our own lane. Stop worrying about other people's crap. Stop worrying about what results they're getting, what they're doing, how they're getting it, because the thing is what works for them, that may not work for you. You know what's worked for you. You've all had clients before. What has worked? Why aren't you doing it? What made you stop doing it? Okay, and I actually have so many more questions, but because I only scheduled this for 90 minutes, I'm not going to really dive into a lot of those, but it tells me we probably are going to have another session around this. But yeah, so how are you guys feeling? Besides sweaty.
This was helpful. Thank you.
Good.
I feel a little more focused now.
Good. And it's very common, like I said, to spread ourselves thin and to think, oh, well, nobody's responding to this offer, so I have to start another offer, or I have to do this. No, you don't. Permission. You don't have to create a new offer. You don't have to go to a million different platforms. You don't have to do reels if you don't want to. You don't have to do any of the things. You have to do what works for you, what you feel okay and confident in, and what you felt confident in the past. And if you're not feeling confident, I want you to stop and ask yourself, and actually not just like think about it, but actually feel into, why am I feeling this? Like, why do I hate cold DMs so much? What is that trigger? I said, and it takes going deeper. It's not just the surface level stuff. So lead generation, it's not DMs, not DMs. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's your feelings behind what's actually happening. It's your belief system behind what's actually happening. It's the energy behind what you're doing that affects. Okay, so you could all 5 do something different and get the same results. You could all do the same thing and get very different results. It's the energy that you're putting into it and how you feel about what you're doing that's going to determine where you get your results. So any questions on that note? Now I know I grilled you guys today. So you still love me?
We do. I think we probably needed that. So thank you.
Sometimes you need a kick in the pants, and I feel like we got a kick in the pants today.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always this notion of like being coached hard, like, oh, she coached me hard, or I'm gonna get coached hard. And I never feel like that's the right word. It's like, this was really necessary coaching. I am stuck and I have been trying to get stuck. And this is where I'm stuck. And so it's just so like, yeah, eye-opening and helpful to not only get hard coaching and be asked questions that make me sweat and squirm, but also to hear other people do the same and go, oh, I don't actually have that problem, and I can see where she might be struggling. And then it's like, oh my God, she might see where I'm struggling. Like, it just opens up this whole new awareness that we can do this in different ways, but we can do it.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily like hard coaching, but it
No.
is, but at the same time, it's just really like Jamie, you're saying like, I love to inspire, and how do I inspire? You can inspire through what I've just done. Like, I feel like I've inspired. Right. And it's not about putting out, like sunshine and rainbow kinds of posts. It's talking the truth to people. That's what gives you authority. That's what inspires people. That is what changes lives, yours and other people's. That's why, like, we're all coaches here today. So, but even if you're a web designer or a VA or whatever you're doing, it's the same thing. It's the same. So.
I do have a question. And if this is just, you need to direct me to something like in the portal, that's where I need to go. But where I freeze is like this, I may have somebody that comments and engages in my post, and I think, okay, this is somebody I need to DM. I don't know what to say. Like that feels awkward. Like, how do I comment in the post and say, can I DM you? Do I ask permission? Do I invite them, or do I just do? That's where I get stuck. So how do I?
Yeah. So, well, first thing I'm going to say is if it is in someone else's Facebook group, follow their rules. Okay.
Yeah, no,
that I'll always kind of preface with that. So don't get yourself kicked out of groups.
No.
But so I guess I base it on the question. I do encourage responding in comments to things whenever you can, instead of moving right in. Like I use the DM, but if it's like, okay, they've engaged in something, you want to connect with them, connecting as much as you can, it pumps up the algorithms, and then it's going to get more eyes on your content. And it also, especially if you're almost coaching them a little bit in the comments, then people see that and they see your authority. They see, oh my God, she's so freaking smart. Oh my God, like, wow, why didn't I think of that? So it's not just the person that you're having the conversation with, it's the people that see that conversation. So I do encourage that whenever you can. But if you're moving into the DMs, usually if you're going back and forth in the comments and it just feels like, okay, this maybe feels like too personal, or you can say, hey, I'm going to send you a DM, or I like saying first, I sent the DM, or like sending it and then saying, hey, I sent you a DM. We can definitely go back and forth here if you want. So like, it feels less threatening for them, like if they want to keep going, but recognizing it's getting a little personal and they might want to move into the DMs and have, a real conversation, or maybe book a call. If it's more just like, okay, somebody posted, well, you're talking on your page, your group, what are we?
Yeah, like I had a post earlier this week of my magnet. A magnet I made.
Yes,
and yeah, it's so lovely. My husband said, you probably could hire somebody from Etsy to do that. I'm like, yeah, I know, that's not the point. And I had a number of people who said, oh my gosh, that's so me. That's so me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a person I need to talk with. But then I just was like, I don't know how to get there. I don't know what words to use. So, I started just by asking questions, because that's what's just natural to me. Like, okay, well, what resonated most? And so I've got two people that it went back and forth 3 or 4 times, but I still go, I don't know how to jump to that. It just feels.
So where, can you give me an example? Like where
I can't,
like where did it get left?
I won't be able to pull it up fast enough. Ask me that question again. Can I give you an
So where,
example of what?
yeah, like what, give me the example, like where was that conversation left? The one that you don't know where to take it.
Like I said, well, like I gave 2 lists. I said, you're either this kind of person or you're this kind of person. And I had multiple people say, I'm the first list, or I'm the second list, or that's me. And so I responded and said, okay, is there one that stands out more, that's stronger for you than others? And so they would answer me back. And I'd say, well, what are your next steps around how do you go after that? And so there's a little bit of back and forth, but it's very narrow. It's not deep. So I know going to the DMs is where you go to get deeper, but I don't know how to transition over there.
So why don't you just send them a message?
That's what I'm asking. Is it appropriate to just be like, hey, you commented on my post. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what Jamie said, exactly. And I want you to remember what you just wrote there, Jamie C. For yourself. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like, okay, you can do something as simple as going in, sorry, just have to back up here because you can start writing and I don't want my computer to get wet. So it can be just something as simple as going into the DMs like, hey, Holly, I just wanted to say thanks for, commenting on my post. I'm so glad that it resonated with you. And just, you can ask another question and just say like, I noticed, you could go into more just, I noticed you're, a nutrition coach. That's awesome. I'm a vegan and I'm working on, really like making some changes in my diet. Well, then Holly might think that you're maybe be careful, but just say
I like your
"Hey, I'm
dog."
a vegan and I really appreciate, the kind of work that you do and having people like you in the world. Like curious, what inspired you to get into that line of work?
What I needed was the first line. Hey, thanks for commenting on my thing. I'm glad that that's the
Yeah,
transition I needed.
That's really all
It's
you
just
need.
the
But it's,
yeah.
and thanks for, the love. If they just liked it and they didn't even comment, you can still do the same thing and just be like, hey, thanks for the love on my post about, your favorite TV show. Thanks. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that you enjoy my content or something, just thanking them and then
Yeah.
go into the conversation. If you think there's someone that is ideal, then just take the time to start the relationship and it's going to lead to the conversations. Just don't get friend zoned.
Yeah. That's exactly what I needed. Cause that's what I do in my group. Is I welcome them into the group. And the first DM that I send them is thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad you're here. And then it just naturally goes where it's going to go. And I just don't have that. It feels awkward on my personal page, but that's what I needed.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
In your group, you probably actually could be more intentional with those messages.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
But yeah, if they're engaging, it's just making that connection. Cause again, it's about building relationships. DMs doesn't have to be about cold DMing, right? It could just be that. And then you start the conversation and then they're just like, oh, I've, yeah, they say, I've been following you. I love your content. And then you can get into more conversation. And then be like, oh, well, if it's resonating with you so much, like I would really love to get on a call with you and, maybe talk about how I can help you, or I have some ideas for you if they're talking about their own struggles that might work. Let's jump on a quick call and we can strategize together.
Can I just tell you something that happened? I feel like Jamie, this might be, okay. So, and I do, when this does work for me, you're helping me remember what works, but when this does work for me, I play the long game. Like I just do. And so, oh, it's such a Jamie thing, Lori. So for me, like I have somebody who's been reading my posts. Actually, this is 2 people, but the person that's not my client reading my post. We've known each other for a really long time. She comments on a lot of things very lightly. I never DM her hardly ever, but every once in a while I'll be like, ha ha ha, oh my gosh. And we'll, never thought of her as a potential client either. Just very like relaxed about this person. And a couple weeks ago, she texted me and said, I'm trying this new entrepreneur thing. Could you help me out by referring blah, blah, blah. Like she just needed a little tiny favor. And I said, yes. And it got her a client for what she's doing, which has nothing to do with what I'm doing. But anyway, she DM'd me a thank you and I DM'd her back, pretty much just you're welcome. And she wrote, I have a folder on my desktop where I keep every one of your posts. And when I need to be brave, I go back to them. I can't wait until I'm
Wow.
ready to work with you. I had no idea. And we've been DMing lightly for about a year, just over like fun things that I never once thought of her as a client. And like now I can totally see like how that fit could be there. But it was like only because we've friendly DM'd, and like, why could, I could be doing that a whole lot more, just being a little unassuming, a little more open, and just like relaxing into the idea that I have a thing. Some people are going to be interested. I may be interested in some people more than others. So anyway,
Yeah.
all that came from a very light response of like, thanks, a long time ago, because she responded to a comment.
People, I mean, it goes a long way. Just, you say you feel you're disingenuine by reaching out to people, but in reality, like, just do what feels natural to you when it comes to reaching out, and make it feel genuine. You don't have, like, back to your point at the beginning of that, Jamie. And I'll let you guys go because I know you guys are gonna all have to jump here, but just make sure I don't have another call. Hold on. I can't get to my calendar. No, I'm good. Okay. I do have resources around DMing, and I have, so I have not re-recorded the videos. So those are older videos. I have updated the guides and this like scripts, and they're not really scripts. They're more just like, here's inspiration that you can use to help you start. So if you guys ever need just a little like inspiration on that, feel free to use those.
So clarifying question, because I think what I saw in the portal was that it's DMing on Instagram. And so I shied away from it because I was like, I'm not going to be tempted by Instagram. So I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah, those were the old
So-
videos.
So go through those and just apply them to Facebook.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. It's
Okay.
the same, and I do say that like in the videos, that, I mean, it's really the same on pretty much any platform. The way that, so instead of like on Instagram, I might be saying, okay, you're finding people through which, Emily, I know you use some similar methods, and you find people through hashtags and through, other people that are in the similar space as you and their followers and that kind of stuff. So it'll tell you that kind of thing, but you can still take that exact same concept. Maybe you're not using hashtags on Facebook, but you're using targeted groups, following, other coaches. And so it's the same concept. The messages are pretty much the exact same. And the way that I've written, like I said, there is a written guide that has a bunch of, like, it's multiple pages, and it just talks about like the lead generation and sales process in general. And there's multiple different ways to kind of go about doing them. But when it comes down to it, it really is just what feels normal and natural to you. And there are different ways to get leads, but ultimately all roads lead to the DMs. Even if it's attraction marketing, because even if they're coming in through your content, yes, sometimes you're sharing links, but they still have to DM you to get into your offer, right? Or they have to say me or raise their hand, and then you have to DM them. So we have to get past our blocks around DMs in order to kind of move past that. Because no matter what, that I'm a coach. We all are coaches. I work with a coach. She's making multiple 7 figures. She's definitely attraction marketing. Like, that's all she does. She doesn't get on calls anymore with people, but she still has to DM. Like, she puts out an offer, you respond to it, she sends you a message. And it's, whether you're making, $3 million a year, $3 a year, 300, doesn't matter what you're making. There's some level of that. And when we can get past our own crap, get out of our own heads, stop comparing ourselves, and just do what feels natural. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. You've DM'd with every other coach you've ever worked with. Exactly. So, okay. Bye, Emily. So yeah, that's what it comes down to. So I've got your homework here. I think everybody put their homework in, so I've got it in writing. The chat is saved. Normally when we upload the videos, the team gets rid of the chat, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to save this separately, so I have this to go back on. Oh, Mhm.
just copied mine because I'm like, wait, what did I say again? But I will say, I feel a little relief actually thinking of narrowing down. So
Good. That's what it
Also-
should feel like.
less pressure.
Yes.
Like, oh, I need to post everywhere today. Ah.
No, just spend the time doing the things that have worked, the things that feel natural to you. And it goes back to your intuition. And I know Jamie C, like you're all about this, right? Following your intuition and get rid of the other energy and like the oh, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that. That's not your intuition talking, saying you shouldn't do those things. Those are your fears and your judgments. So what is your intuition actually telling you? And follow it.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been a great one, ladies. Thank you. Thank you for yes, awesome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, even being in the hot seats. So
It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot. It was good. It was good getting a kick in the pants. I don't often say that, but I enjoyed it.
you can count on me for that. There's that. I'll also be there to nurture when you need it, but I'm always good for a good kick in the pants. So I'm glad it helped. It resonated. So I'm looking forward to hearing the updates on how the homework went.
Will do.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hold on one second. Next session that we have is Jana. She's on Friday at 11. And we didn't get into the sales thing with all of you, but Jamie C, Jamie H. Some of the things that were coming up with you earlier on and what you're saying about sales, I want to see you on Friday and Jana's session.
I have a conflict. Dang it. But I'll watch the recording.
Okay. Well, and if you have questions, send them ahead of time and she'll go
Oh,
through.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's 11 Central or
No, Eastern, 11 a.m. Let me just double check my calendar. Okay. Yes, it is 11 a.m. Eastern, so 10 a.m. for you, Holly.
okay, perfect. I'm gonna put it on my calendar now.
Yeah, she's fantastic when it comes to the sales, and the things that she and I teach are somewhat intertwined and very much, go with each other. So I think this session today is a very good segue for anybody that is going to Jana's session on Friday. So, and if you can't
Okay.
make it live, send your questions for her in Boxer and tag her in there and just say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it, but would really love if you could go over this. So, okay. Okay. Go run with your homework. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.